in Ibadan or any other part of Nigeria, just join us for the next 1 hour and you will not regret it. Today, I have with me on this program to help me answer this important question. And I couldn't have asked for a more qualified guest. He is one of Africa's most respected education strategists, founder of UIN Africa, an international education consultant, author of over 40 books, a trainer of more than 20,000 teachers and still counting, a trainer of more than 10,000 school leaders across Africa, a man whose work has taken him from Nigeria to Finland, to Dubai, to China, to UK, to US and beyond, helping schools rethink what quality education should look like in the 21st century. Some people teach in classrooms, some lead schools, a few shape educational systems. Our guest today belongs to that last category. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to welcome to Oxygen FM Dr. Adebare Egunjobi. Let me also add that Dr. Adebare Egunjobi is my mentor, is my boss. I've been under his training in the last 6 years. Dr. Adebare Egunjobi Adebare, you are welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
So it is my honor to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to start, as the palm wine drunkards will say in those days. They will say, let us start from the starting. Or they will say, let us begin from the beginning. Sir, you have spent decades studying education across Nigeria, Finland, Dubai, China, and many other countries. You've trained thousands of teachers and school leaders. You've watched education systems succeed, and you've watched others struggle. So permit me to begin with what I believe is the biggest question of all. What purpose is education really supposed to achieve?
Thank you so much for having me. I consider it a huge privilege to be here today, and I must commend that you are doing a very great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the question is a very direct and straightforward one. What is education supposed to achieve? It's supposed to produce a balanced adult. But there are three major goals that education is meant to achieve. And that is the education that will touch the head, the hands, and the heart. Any education that does not touch those three in the life of the learners has not achieved anything. The head must be filled with knowledge. The hands must be filled with relevant skills, while the heart must be filled with correct attitude. If education achieves only one out of the three, then that education is not balanced. So what is education supposed to achieve? It's supposed to produce a balanced adult that will have correct knowledge in the head, correct skill in the hand, correct attitude, values, morals in the heart. Once we have an adult that can actually achieve those three, then we say education has done what it's supposed to do.
Thank you. Sir, when parents pay school fees, many of them believe they are buying education. Are they really buying education, or are they simply buying certificates?
Okay. Yeah, from what we have said, the first question, it is very, very clear. When a parent brings a child to a school, there is a particular book I wrote on yearnings of an African parent. They may not be able to paint it the way I've just done, but the yearnings in the heart of every parent is this. When a parent brings a child, maybe age 6, coming to primary 1, for instance, what the parent is saying is, please, the head is blank. There is nothing in the head of this child. I will come for this child in the next 6 years or in the next 12 years. When he will have finished his primary and secondary education, I want you to fill the head with knowledge, not just certificate. Knowledge that will make him to be useful to himself, useful to his family, useful to the society. Number 2, the parent is asking. The hands are empty. A 6-year-old has empty head, empty hands. Help me fill these hands with skills. In case he does not get job with certificate, let him have a skill that will help him to break the poverty jinx. A parent is also asking, the heart is innocent. Help me fill this heart with correct attitude, character, behavior, that when he graduates, he will not become a runs girl. He will not become a yahoo yahoo. He will not become a kidnapper or a bandit. So this is the journey of an average parent. So what a parent is paying school fees for is not just certificate. Certificate is one of the components of what a parent is paying for. But education in general, the parent is not asking for a child who will have certificate and at the end of the day become the greatest embezzlers of people's resources. So is paying not for certificate, is paying for education that touches, like I've said, the head, the hands, and the heart.
And that leads me to another question. What, in your opinion, is the greatest misconception Nigerians have about education?
Yeah, it is still the same thing that we have been saying. The conception is taking only one out of the three.
Right.
And that has happened in the last couple of decades. In the last couple of years, let me say, we took one out of the three. Out of the knowledge, the skills, and the attitude, which I refer to as KSA, not King Sonny Ade this time around. Mm-hmm. But then, we have decided to take only certificate, a proof of knowledge. Certificate is what you know. Skill is what you can do. And the attitude is how you can impact your society. So the greatest misconception, misunderstanding which we have done is when we begin to relegate the skills, we begin to relegate the attitudes. We focus only on knowledge. And even the knowledge we focus on is not knowledge that can give us what is relevant and functional. It's just to have to be paper certificated. That is the major issue. And it started from when we changed this word, when we started calling some things extracurricular. That is when the problem actually started. So we believe that curricula is anything that has to do with what is economics. Economics is the branch of social science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. That is what we refer to as curricula. So all other things that have to do with skills, that has to do with the hands and the art, we call them extracurricular. They are not extracurricular. They are initially meant to be co-curricular. So this is one of the greatest misconceptions about education.
I've been under your ministration the last 6 years. Ministration in quote now.
I wonder.
You often speak about relevant education and functional education. And you just mentioned it now. Yeah. Many people think they are the same thing. Is there any difference?
Yeah, we all thought that they are the same thing. But in the last 9 years, we embarked on a very huge comparative education tour, which took us to virtually all the continents of the world. And what we were doing is we were trying to understudy the educational system of systems of different continents and countries. It took us to different places. Like I've said, we understudied the American educational system. We entered into their classrooms. We watched their pedagogy. We watched their teachers teach and all of that. We understudied British educational system, Australian educational system, Indian educational system. We also did a bit of Arab educational system before we went to Finland, the country with the best educational system in the world. We understudied the educational system as well. And the same thing with China. In the next couple of months, we're still going to China. And each time we go, we always take Nigerian and African school administrators along. At least we have taken over 200 on these different comparative education tours. What we have discovered is they understand, the least person in the education ladder understand the difference between relevant and functional education. Relevant education is the education that meets the needs of the society, meets the needs of the learner primarily, and meets the needs of the society in general. Functional education is the education that will now give the learner the skills to be able to achieve that purpose. We learned computer science in our schools. Computer science started about 20, 30 years ago. That is relevant. Everybody knows that computer education is relevant. At the end of the day, did we give the learners in the last 20 years, 15 years, the skills they need to actually understand computer education? The answer is no. Because we have so many graduates now. When we conduct recruitment exercises, interviews, we have so many graduates that do not know anything about MS Word, MS Excel, MS PowerPoint. So is computer education relevant? The answer is yes. But do we have right skills to achieve it? The answer is no. So relevant education is education that meets the needs of the society. In the last 20 years again, we have so many graduates that have come out of universities, polytechnics, colleges of education without jobs. So the major need of the society, the yearnings of the parents are not being met. So at the end of the day, that education cannot break the poverty jinx of the parent, cannot put food on the table of even the learners themselves. So it's not relevant. And why is it not relevant? Because there are no skills given to the people. That is functional. So an education system is relevant if it meets the needs of the society, and it is functional if it gives the learners the requisite skills and tools needed to achieve that purpose.
In that case, let me ask this. Does it mean that an education can be academically excellent and yet completely fail a student?
Oh, definitely. And that is what we don't even need to go far in answering that question.
All right.
Currently, we have over 80 million youths that are unemployed in Nigeria.
80 million youths.
We have over 80 million youths, but that is generally youths. Now, let's come to our education institutions. Every year, we produce between 450,000 and 600,000 youth corpers. That's about 425 copper producing institutions in Nigeria. They roll out over 450,000 to 600,000 graduates every year. Now, those who are gainfully employed among this huge number is around 10%. So that means over 90% are on the streets, roaming the streets. Even as I'm talking now, they are into what we call underemployment. I mean, taking jobs that are far less than their qualifications. We have many of our graduates today that are into learning trades that they did not intentionally plan to do ab initio. Many have become drivers, many have become security men and women, and so on and so forth. So definitely this education has failed the learners. And in the last 15 years, we had it so rough, we had it so bad. And that is why we have production of Yahoo guys in this huge number. Because they will tell you education is a scam. Why do they call education scam? Because that education failed the students. But is it academically excellent? The answer is yes. Because many of these graduates have their second class upper.
First class.
Yeah, first class. So they know the theory. They can write exams, pass exam. So academic excellence, yes. But failing students also, yes.
Sir, I must confess something many Nigerians often do. They use two words as though they mean the same thing. And like I said, having been under your administration, I know you have a different perspective to it. Those two words are unemployment and unemployability. From your writings, from your work that I've read, from being under various seminars of yours, I've discovered they are not the same. And I think this distinction may be one of the most important conversations we have today. So let me ask you, for the benefit of every parent, every teacher, every school owner, and every young graduate listening today, can you tell us the difference between unemployment and unemployability?
Thank you very much. That's a very, very relevant and intelligent question. Simply put, unemployment is non-availability of jobs. Unemployability is lack of required skills or lack of requisite requirements. Don't let me say skills alone. Lack of requisite requirements to be able to get existing jobs. Now, let me just spend a minute or two to explain this.
All right.
In Nigeria, we have talked about unemployment. That's what all of us understood. But there is in Nigeria we have the two actually. We have both unemployment and unemployability. So no one will doubt the fact that there are not enough jobs. But then there are jobs in Nigeria. Even as we are talking now, there are jobs that are waiting for for workers. And they are not low-paying jobs. They are jobs that are paying in 6 digits. But then, many graduates cannot get those jobs because they do not have what it takes to get the jobs. That's unemployability. So a graduate is not, our greatest problem is not unemployment. Our greatest problem is unemployability. You see, Dangote, when he started the refinery, he employed over 6,500 Indian expatriates to fill different roles. He recruited over 3,500 Chinese expatriates to fill different roles. Now, coming to the question of patriotism and nationalism, why would you go and recruit such a huge number from outside when we have over 80 million youths that are roaming the streets, when we have so many Nigerian unemployed graduates that are going on Japa trip on daily basis? But you see, the issue is this: many of these graduates do not have what Dangote is looking for. They do not have the requirement that employers are looking for. That's unemployability. And it is not economically wise for Dangote to do the same, because it is more expensive, it is more cost intensive for him to fly expatriate down from different countries to Nigeria. That cost him a lot of money. Their health insurance, that cost him a lot of money. Their accommodation, that cost him a lot of money. He will spend half of the same amount of money to recruit 11,000 Nigerian graduates if they have the role. So he's paying double because he cannot get what he wants from Nigerian graduates. That is unemployability. By the time I graduate and I go to an employer is telling me, do you have this? I said no. Do you have this? I said no. Do you have this? I said no. Then I'm unemployed.
You know, of recent, during the program on the platform in Lagos, the MD of Money Point came out and said he has jobs.
Yeah, that's
Tosin Olorunda. That he couldn't find graduates that are capable of doing the job.
That is unemployability.
I also watched Kemi Adeosun on one of our programs. Said she was always getting disappointed when people come in, and from their first statement, she will know that this one is unemployable. My question is, sir, in your opinion, why are many Nigerian graduates unemployable?
Thank you very much. Because of what we are taught. You know, you go to university, you go to school, you spend 6 years in primary school, 6 years in secondary school, 4-5 years in university, and you are being taught the YDX. You are being taught to cram. You are able to cram, you are able to write exam, you are able to pass. But what employers need, you don't have. That is why graduates are unemployable. It is simply lack. I call it two major reasons. Number one is a knowledge deficit.
Okay.
There is so much knowledge deficit on the part of the learners themselves, on the part of their teachers, on the part of the school administrator. There is so much knowledge deficit in Africa generally. What we understand to be education is what education was 40 years ago. You know, by that time you come out of university or any institution, you have your certificate. Employers of labor are even driving to your school to come and give you a job. But then that was then. Now you need more than certificate to get that. Unfortunately, we have knowledge deficit to know what exactly are global employers looking for. Number two is information gap. I said when we went on comparative education tour, they are not teaching anything more fantastic than what we are teaching in economics and mathematics. It's not like when you get to the US, they are teaching physics or government more than what we are doing here. And that's why you discover that many of our graduates, when they travel abroad, they pass very well. Because when it comes to teaching passing, we are not lacking in that. Why are our graduates unemployable? Because of knowledge deficit and information gap of what employers are looking for, global employers.
Do you know, I have this nephew of mine. He read computer science in one of the schools. Yeah. And after that, we got him for one company. They recruited him just for 6 months. Yeah. And after that, they will fix him in a job. And when he came back home, he said, Uncle, what I learned in 6 months about computer, they didn't teach me for 4 years in the university.
And that's the truth. That's the knowledge deficit I'm talking about. Even in this education, even in this education industry, we have discovered that when we train some teachers within 6 months, they master teaching, educational practice, pedagogy, curriculum interpretation. They master instructional materials deployment and all of that better than many who spent 4 years. So there is a gap, and that is the practical aspect. Our education in this part of the world is extremely theoretical, and that is why you will see someone who has maybe second class upper, BS economics, who has studied monetary economics in the university, who has passed 90%, but when he gets to bank, you will be surprised that it will be a school start holder that will help him to fill a teller. So he has the knowledge of monetary economics, he has learned everything about teller, about checks, about everything, but when it comes to practical dimension, we are lacking, and that is another reason.
Now let me ask you this: if you are the managing director
Yeah.
of a company interviewing 100 graduates tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
what qualities would make you employ one candidate over another?
Yeah, it will be the same quality that Tesla is looking for.
What are those qualities? And I want our listeners, especially those unemployed graduates and their parents, to listen.
It will be the same quality, it will be the same requirements that Microsoft is looking for, that Google is looking for, that IBM is looking for, that Oracle is looking for, that Samsung is looking for, that KPMG is looking for, that E&Y is looking for, that Thermocool is looking for. They are basically 6. Number 1, I will ask, give me your certificates. That would number 1. That's the same thing global employers will first ask for. When you bring your certificates, that will be 1, but that will just be 1/6. It is not enough for you to get the job yet. Number 2, I will ask for your certifications. And when I ask for your certifications, I will not ask for,
Before we go ahead,
yeah.
What's the difference between certificate and certification?
Yeah, academic institutions award certificate after a specified period of time in that academic institution. Body of experts come together to review and prove that someone has measured up to the particular level of competence that they expect in that particular field. Take, for instance, you go to university to study accounting. What you come out with after 4 or 5 years is a certificate in accounting.
BSc accounting.
BSc accounting. But when you now go for ICANN, body of experts have come together. They have their curriculum and they have assessed you. The product of that assessment, that is when you have a certification. And it is more trusted because it is believed that academic institutions can doctor with results. We're in Nigeria, we're in Africa. We cannot shy away from these practical realities. And we don't want to go into the social factors that are responsible for that. But most of the certifications are not doctored. And another thing is the certificate you bring out from academic institution, you have a lot of things packed into it. You are studying accounting, you have to do political science, you have to go and do philosophy and all of that. Logic. But for certification, everything you are going to do is going to be what you need when you get to the industry. These are the differences between certificate and certification. So global employers will be asking for number 2, certification. And they are not going to be asking for certification blindly. They will be asking for 2 types of certifications. Number 1, tech certifications. Because in this era of digital and technological breakthrough, if you do not have certain tech certifications, you cannot be globally competitive and you cannot handle some jobs. It does not matter the course you studied. So I will be asking for number 2, tech certifications. Number 3 will be non-tech certifications. What are the non-tech certifications that you have? And if a graduate is able to produce a certificate, tech certification, even if it is 1, we're talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about robotics certification. We're talking about cloud computing. We're talking about blockchain technology. If it's able to bring any of this out, yeah. And then we talk of non-tech certification. Do you have a certification in human resource management, in project management, in HSE, in accounting?
What's HSE?
That is health and safety. Okay. Health, safety and environment. Okay. In legal and compliance. These certifications are not necessarily tied to what you study. You don't need to study accounting before you go and get certification in accounting. You don't need to study human resource management before you go and get certification in human resource management. Data science, digital marketing. So if a graduate possesses these 2, Then the next thing will be, what competencies do you have? You know, both certificate and certifications, as different as they are still proof of what you know. They test what you know. But now competencies go further to actually make you display what you know. And there are 3 types of competencies I will be asking for. One, multilingual competence. Global employers are looking for that. The world has become a global village, and we cannot shy away from that fact. In Nigeria today, the volume of trade of China alone in Nigeria runs into billions of dollars and still counting. And it's not only Nigeria, all over the world. Even US is going to China now to produce and manufacture. They do their product for US specification, which they now bring back to the US.
Because of the cheap labor.
Because of the cheap labor, because of the technology also. Yeah. We cannot rule out the fact that China is ruling technology. So at the end of the day, you now discover that when a child or when a graduate has multilingual competence, he has more opportunities. For instance, today, if any graduate has level 4 in Chinese language, level 4 in Chinese language, he will get a job within 2 weeks. And
in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, as we're talking now, if you know anyone, just get across to Oxygen FM. They know how to get across to me. Within 2 weeks, he will get a job, and it will be in 6 digits. And it will not matter the certificate that the person has. So some of the people we got job for in the last couple of months, they are school cert holders. None of them get less than 250,000, 300,000 naira per month because they are able to speak Chinese language. So many a times when our graduates say, we don't have job, the question is, what do you have? You have only certificate. Do you have tech certification? No. Do you have non-tech certification? No. Do you have multilingual competence? No. And these are the things you can do within 6 months, 9 months. And the next thing I'm going to be asking for will be Microsoft competence. I said there are 3 levels of competencies. If you go to school, you cannot operate MS Word, MS Excel, MS PowerPoint. That education is irrelevant and non-functional. I mean, it does not matter how many distinctions you have from WAEC. It doesn't make any sense that we have so many of our...
Even if you make first class, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Without these competencies.
Without these Microsoft Office competencies. You can't do anything without this basic one. And we have 10, under Microsoft Office. I just mentioned 3. Now, number 3 competence will be, that may not be generally applicable, entrepreneurship competence. After you have all of this, the next question will be, how many hard skills do you have? Now, hard skills are different from certifications, but they're very similar to tech certifications. Many of our graduates do not have any hard skill at all.
And what about soft skills?
Oh, now, you see, the difference between hard skills and soft skills is hard skills are, you get trained in them. Like you want to learn video editing, photography, website and app design, UI, UX, back end, front end, software development. These are hard skills. Journalism is also hard skill. But soft skills have to do with the attitudes, with the character. I talked the other time I was talking about KSA. Education is all about KSA, knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Now, when you have all of these skills, you get a job, but you won't last in the job if you don't have soft skills. Soft skill, we talk about your integrity, we talk about your punctuality, we talk about your respect, we talk about your time management, we talk about your communication, we talk about your leadership,
critical thinking,
about critical thinking, we talk about creativity, we have 50 soft skills that we expect that every graduate should have, and we also have 50 hard skills that we expect that every graduate should have. Now, sir, the question is this: when we ask many graduates that come to look for a job, how many hard skills do you have out of 50 hard skills? They are blank. The first thing is, what do you mean by hard skills? Some will say I have vocational skills. Vocational skills are just one out of 6 different categories of hard skills that we have. So there's a whole lot. So these are the reasons our graduates are not getting jobs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sir, if a student graduates with first class honors, but cannot solve problems, communicate effectively, or work with others, has the educational system truly succeeded?
Well, educational system does not fail because a learner fails. We only say an educational system fails if we look at the percentage of first class holders that cannot solve problems, that cannot communicate. Because apart from what you are taught in school, there is also a place of personal development. And many of these things that I talk about is not everything you are going to pick in the school. There is going to be place of personal development. But if someone has first class honors, we expect that there will be certain expectations. If the expectation is not met and is now general to all the first class holders, that is where we say the educational system fails. But if it is an exceptional one first class holder there that is not able to meet up with that requirement, it could be a factor by himself or by the school that he went to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My listeners at home, this conversation has challenged one of the biggest assumptions in our country. For years, we have asked, where are the jobs? Perhaps we should also be asking, are we producing graduates that today's jobs require? Degrees matter, but as Dr. Adebare Egunjobi has just pointed out to us now, competence matters even much more. Certificates are important, but character, skills, adaptability, and problem-solving skills are what sustain success in today's world.
That's right.
As we go from this step and take another step, I want us to go away with these takeaways. A certificate is evidence of learning. It is not evidence of competence. Employers increasingly recruit for skills, not merely certification, not merely qualifications. Schools must prepare students for life, not just for certificates. Parents should celebrate graduation, but should also ask, what can my child actually do?
Exactly.
And finally, the future belongs not necessarily to the most educated, but to the most valuable.
Yeah.
Wow. We take a break now, and when we come back, we shall continue from here. Thank you. Thank you and welcome back. This is still Oxygen FM 96.9 Ibadan. Reaching you from the knowledge of Okeado here, where we inform, inspire, and ignite. And I've been speaking in the last 40 minutes with Dr. Adebare Egunjobi. And let me just say this slowly to you. A degree may get you an interview, but only value will get you the job. And only continuous learning will help you to keep that job. And Dr. Egunjobi, after training more than 20,000 teachers and over 10,000 school administrators across Africa, what is the one mistake you see our schools making over and over again?
Thank you very much. And I'm quite I always get emotional whenever we get to this level of conversation. It is using 20th century approach to produce learners for 21st century. That is the greatest mistake. If you look at many of our school administrators, majority of them are in their above 40s, 50s, and 60s. They were trained by 20th century teachers in 20th century classrooms, using 20th century paperback books, and using 20th century approaches. Now they need to produce digital citizens. And if care is not taken, we will just discover that we are using old approach to solve new problem. We will not get anywhere. That's the greatest mistake I've seen. You know. And excuse me, just to bring in something for a minute or two. It's like you are running a restaurant and you have been selling ewagan for years. You have made so much money. You have been selling moi moi. You have been selling egbo. You built house. You bought cars. You did well for yourself. But demographic changes come, and new set of customers arrive. They don't want to buy wagon anymore. They don't want to eat egbo anymore. Now they want shawarma. Now they want pizza. And the greatest mistake you can make is to think you can use the approach of egbo to retain the customers of shawarma. You will be out of business. That's the mistake.
Thank you. Listening to you, sir, one thing has become very clear. I think it would be unfair to place the burden of employability on graduates alone.
Yeah.
No child educates himself.
No.
Every child is shaped by a system that is already in place over the years. And this brings me to what I consider the most important question of today's conversation. If our children are leaving school without the competencies they need for life, who should fix this? And before you answer, or maybe I should even ask, who really educates a child? Dr. Fasasi was on this program and identified, when we discussed the problem of who fails the students, he talked about the parents, the teachers, the school, the government, the society, that all these are responsible. So what is the first responsibility of parents preparing children for success, not just for certificates?
Go and get knowledge. Go and get information. That is all. See, it's not that many of the parents today are even educated, but they lack information. And if you are not informed, you'll be deformed. You are what you know. We just need to break this jinx of knowledge deficit and information gap that I've mentioned. So what should the parent do? The parent should ask the question. And the question is very simple. What are global employers looking for? I've mentioned there are 6. Number 1, certificate. Number 2, certifications. Number 3, competencies. Number 4, hard skills. Number 5, soft skills. And number 6, job readiness skills. Once you know this, you now find a mechanism for making your own child to get this requirement. And that will be all.
Sir, if you visited 100 schools in Nigeria today,
Yes, sir.
what is the one thing you urgently ask school owners and principals to change?
The same thing we're talking about, the content, the curriculum.
But the curriculum is set by the government, not by the principals of the school.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong.
Yeah, you know that Nigerian economy and Nigerian state is essentially private sector driven. You discover that we have not waited for government in all the areas where we have got breakthrough. There were times when we were having NITEL in this country, and we know how much NITEL could not deliver. Then we went into private telecommunications. Private telecommunications delivered Nigerians. We also know about different aspects that I don't want to be mentioning. Health sector. Many are depending on private hospitals now. The same thing with schools. So every school owner and administrator will need to take responsibility for adding to the for interpreting the curriculum. Our curriculum, I don't want to go into that now so that we will not get distracted, because that will be another discussion entirely. But then every school owner and administrator should go extra mile in getting information and knowledge that will enhance the interpretation of curriculum.
I've read many of your books over the years. In the last 6 years, I've read your books. I've been at your seminars. And one question comes to my mind now. Can an outdated teacher prepare students for a rapidly changing world? And what should every teacher begin doing differently from the next school term?
Thank you very much. It's just like what I've said before when I was making reference to shawarma and local delicacies. An outdated teacher and children for emerging world rather. This is the approach, the angle at which I'm going to look at it. Many of our teachers are digital, what we refer to as digital aliens. Our children that we are teaching, they are digital natives, digital citizens. So we are not in the same level. We are not in the same world at all. A 3-year-old child will pick up a phone. A 6-year-old child will pick a phone. And what 60-year-old school administrator cannot do, the 6-year-old will do it on the phone. So what should the teacher do? The teacher should go and master trends. We have what we call trends in education, and there are 5 different types of trends that every teacher should go and master urgently between our next term. Number 1 are the current trends in education. Number 2, emerging trends in education. Number 3, evolving trends in education. Number 4, contemporary trends in education. Number 5, future trends in education. Now, the moment a teacher masters these 5 trends, it does not matter when it was produced or where it was produced. He will be able to produce globally competitive students who will be able to compete with their counterparts from all over the world. The teacher should go and master trends.
Let's assume that a 12-year-old student is listening to you right now.
Okay.
What habits should he or she begin developing today to become employable tomorrow?
Habit of skills?
Okay.
Or do you mean habits?
Habits. Yes, the habits, the skills that the skills should develop.
Let him develop habit of consuming information about employability. You know, in Nigeria and in Africa, we have subjects like business studies.
Yeah.
We have social studies.
Right.
We have religious studies. We have security studies. We have business studies. We don't have employability studies. Every child should go and study employability studies. Employability studies, we now go into the certificate we're talking about is divided into 2. We have national certificate, we have international certificate. Under national certificate, we have 6 different categories. Under international certificate, we have 20. So we're talking of 26 certificates that a 12-year-old child should know before he even gets to SS3 at all. These employability studies will also open his eyes to certifications, all the tech certifications and all the non-tech certifications. He will know them before he gets to SS3 at all. These employability studies will open his horizon to go and know about all the competencies, the multilingual competencies, the Microsoft Office competencies, the entrepreneurship. These employability studies will expose him to 50 hard skills, 50 soft skills, relevant vocational skills, and 10 job readiness skills. By the time he studies employability studies very well, he will have enough information, he will have enough knowledge, and he will definitely be employable. I don't think this is for 12-year-old alone. For everyone in the classroom, for every graduate that is listening to me, for every copper that is listening to me, and for everyone that is complaining that there is no job, should go and master the 6 requirements of employability. And I'm saying it's not a matter of looking for job. Job will be looking for the person.
Earlier in the program, we talked about the MD of Money Point and former Minister of Education. Yeah. And the question, the employers of labor and they are complaining. Should employers continue complaining about graduates, or should industry become more actively involved in shaping what schools teach?
Thank you very much. Now, industry has now discovered that they have no choice than to become involved in education. All over the world, there is what we call town-gown synergy. That is, the town is involved with what the gown is doing. In Africa, we have town-gown disparity. So you see someone in mechanical engineering department. We have someone from mechanical engineering department of University of Ibadan that does not know what the spare parts tellers in gate are doing. So, and that is where you see the balance of industry. But now things are changing. For instance, I was appointed about some months ago to become I was appointed some months ago to become the strategic partner for a consortium between industry practitioners and educational institutions. So currently, industry is already becoming involved in education. And to just summarize this, what industry is doing now is to take what they think graduates should know, to take it to schools, so that schools can build into the curriculum, and it's already happening.
All right, we have questions. Many of the questions that have been sent in, they have been answered in your explanation, but this one just came in.
Okay.
That in vacancy advertisements, many companies, after the qualifications, they ask for 3, 4, 5 years of experience. Where do they expect a fresh graduate seeking for job or employment to have such experience? And what is the solution to this?
Fantastic question.
In just 1 minute.
Fantastic question. You see, many of our graduates have what we call blank CVs. They have what we call virgin CVs. And you are supposed to have disvirgin your CV even before you finish your NYC. So currently, you don't need to wait until you finish your NYC before you have your years of experience. It's because we are looking for money. All the people we are mentoring, right from when you finish your secondary school, you begin to volunteer. When you volunteer, whether they give you money or they don't give you money, is part of your work experience. All the people we are mentoring, the moment many of them have finished writing work last month. Between now and the time you are going to get admission, go and volunteer. Go to Oxygen FM. I want to volunteer in production. I want to volunteer in this. How much are you going to be paid? I don't mind if you don't pay me. So the CV ought to be disvirgined. The semester breaks.
Okay.
This and all of that. So so there is so much every student can do to actually fill up this gap even before finishing NYC.
Now let me take you to another realm. Not as an education consultant, not as a national speaker, not as the founder of AIN.
Okay.
Imagine that tomorrow morning, President Tinubu calls you and he says, Dr. Adebare Egunjobi, for the next 1 year, you are the Honorable Minister of Education.
Okay.
You have the political will, you have the resources, you have the freedom to act.
Yeah.
What are the first 2 things you will do?
Only one thing. Since you said I should not talk about it as an educational consultant, so I won't go into all the professional jargons in education. I will just ask all the political office holders to return their children to public schools. The moment that is done, there will be commitment. You see, we deceive ourselves too much in this country. My child is not in private school. Producer's child is not in private school. Your child is not in public school. Now, whatsoever program I want to do as Minister of Education, there won't be follow-up, because we are not committed, we are not concerned. So I don't have to do 10 things. Let every political office holder return their children up to local government chairman, councillors. Sir, within 1 year, everything will change.
Thank you very much, Dr. Egunjobi. In the next 50 years from today, when people mention your name, what do you hope they will say you did for education in Africa?
As a man who designed curriculum for employability studies.
Do you have something you are doing in that direction now?
By the grace of God, I'm the curriculum developer for employability studies that is being adopted by many schools in African countries today. Everything I've been talking about, a child can learn it, either in primary school, secondary school, university, youth corpus. I want to be remembered as someone who changed the narrative of education in Nigeria from being irrelevant and dysfunctional to education that youth can have and be able to break the poverty genes, because these days parents send their children to school for 15 years and the children come out, they can't get a job. They train the children in school, they do wedding for their children, and they are still taking care of the children of their children now because they can't get a job. I want to be that man who brought about the knowledge bank and the information required for graduates to have the requirement to be able to get a job after education.
And if anybody wants to know more about Dr. Adebare Egunjobi, just come to Oxygen FM.
All right.
Today has not simply been another radio interview. It has been a mirror held before our educational system. We began by asking why many graduates struggle after leaving school, but we discovered that the real issue is much deeper. Education is not merely about filling classrooms. It is about preparing lives. It is not merely about producing graduates. It is about producing problem solvers. It is not merely about certificates, it's about competencies. It's not merely about employment, it is about value. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all, no child succeeds because of one person. Parents matter, teachers matter, schools matter, government matters, industry matters, society matters, and yes, students themselves matter. When these 6 partners work together, education becomes transformational. When they work in isolation, the child pays the price. Today, we are lucky to have Dr. Adebare Egunjobi. We want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know what this means to me. You may not know. I know how much I've tried to get him across to sit down for this important conversation. And this conversation has not ended. It continues. You can look it up on our website for Oxygen FM. The video will be there. And at the end of the day, I will give Dr. Adebare just 1 minute.
All right, Oxygen FM is partnering with AIN Africa in developing what we call Employability Kit. And it is one of the give back social responsibilities of Oxygen FM. Within 3 months, we have a kit where every child will get one tech certification, we get one non-tech certification, we get one multilingual competence. In 3 months, we'll be able to speak that international language. In 3 months, we'll be able to get everything about Microsoft Office. In 3 months, we'll be able to get everything about entrepreneurship. Within that kit, in 3 months, it will get the hard skill and will get the soft skill and get the job readiness skills. Everything in 6 months. In 3 months. It is called Employability Kit, and it is being run in partnership with Oxygen FM. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Adebare. My profound appreciation to our distinguished guest, Dr. Adebare Egunjobi, for sharing not only his expertise, but also his passion and vision for the future of education, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa. Thank you for enriching this conversation, Dr. Adebare Egunjobi. I'm Akin Akinade, Chartered School Administrator, School Growth Advocate, and former Principal of Loyola College, and your host on the Professional Edge, Education Unlocked. As I leave you today, remember these words: education builds minds, leadership builds people, character builds generations. Keep learning, keep leading, and keep making a difference. Until next Friday, stay inspired, stay relevant, and keep unlocking the power of education. God bless you.